Okay, let's see if that helped. Hey guys, I'm here. Oh my goodness, I saw where somebody paid $14,000 for their medical coding and billing. Oh my goodness. Am I okay? No echo? Okay, good. Woo. All right, I'm trying to go back and see about all these messages. I know y'all are trying to stay awake. Hey, Kathy, how's it going? Good luck on your test. Hey, India. Hey, Trisha. Hey, Norma. How's everybody doing? I know y'all are usually in bed now. I'm sorry. But it is beautiful and sunny out here in Arizona right now. It's 91 degrees outside. The sun is up. It's really pretty. Beautiful day. Not that I stepped outside at all. I've been working and working and working. Somebody is taking theirs on the 17th of June. That's Jen. Any questions? If I missed your questions up here, guys, anybody have any questions for tonight? So update on my new class. I began CPT Part 1 so far. We are about to go into week 4, and I haven't heard a one peep from our teacher. Oh my, Shay. I guess it's self-motivated. You just go in and do which assignments or whatever. But y'all didn't have any once a week at least classes? Oh my gosh. It's from a tech school. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to be clear in my throat. I just haven't talked online in I don't know how many days. Since Wednesday? So my voice is out of practice of talking. The internet has been a booger, and I've been trying to get this stream to work correctly, and I'm failing. That is super expensive. You really just need the official study guide and all of Jen's videos. That's awesome. I do recommend you purchase the certification practice exams. If you're going to do AHIMA or AAPC, whichever one, I love the AHIMA's workbook that they have. It's really awesome. I wonder if I can show it off. Let me see here. Ebook. Let's see. It's a window capture. Properties. I had wrong websites. Let's see. I had VitaSource up today. I was looking at it. Let's see if I can get VitaSource to come up here for you. Let's see. Will that one work? No, there is nothing there. Add. Window capture. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Can y'all see that window? But right now I'm in the, do y'all see a copy of my screen right now? It looks like I've got a bunch of crap highlighted, but it's on my desktop. Hey, Twinkle, how's it going? Hey, Susanna. She said, I just stopped in to say thank you, Jen. I took my test Saturday and I passed with an 85%. Woo! I would not have been able to do it without you. Oh, I'm sure you would have. Susanna, you're awesome. Congratulations. I think you scored higher than I did back in 2019. I can't remember. Libman for AHIMA certification. Libman. No? Yes. Okay. So this is my VitaSource where I buy a bunch of books. Right now I was checking out this one, the Coders Speciality thing that AAPC has. It's $200, but I was just seeing what it had in it, but it's not a lot. It's not worth $200, but it just tells me the fee schedules, CCI alerts, ICD-10 cross-references for CPT codes. It doesn't help. I just was hoping that it would be helpful, but that's it. It's nothing. So anyway, if they had them on sale for like $30 off or something this week, so I bought it to see what was in it, and there's nothing in there that I need to help you guys with the certification exam. But anyway, AHIMA, I love this little book. I need to get the one for 2023. I'm sure it's out now, but I just haven't done it. If you're taking the AHIMA test, I love this book, this clinical coding workout book. It only gives you the answers to every odd question, and unfortunately, but it's pretty cool. I like how it starts out with the basic principles and it goes through the entire book, including all the CPT codes for chapter 1. It'll go through everything. A lot of them are fill in the blank, but there are some that are going to be A, B, C, D. I don't like all this busy work, like go find me the diagnosis code for ventricular fibrillation. That's just a waste of time. I like the right here that it's got the ABCDs. We'll have the answer for 199 because it's one of the odd ones. So I just focus mainly on the odd ones, and then we get rationale with those. But then it'll go through the basic principles of CPT coding, and then it'll go through the hit picks. Love it, love it. And of course, we get the answers to every odd question. And then you've got another section of the book where it does all of those over again with the hit ICD-10, the CPT, and the hit picks. But now it'll do it in more advanced setting, like just harder questions, which is cool. And more of those are in ABCD format. And then you can go on to the third part down here where they're super advanced and they have even more exercises to go through that are even tougher. So I love the 3 levels and learning at a basic level first and then redoing questions and doing them again later on, tougher, and then doing some more tougher. So I love these. I think the AHIMA did a really good job of this workbook for both CPC and probably AHIMA. I didn't like the bucks for 2022. For some reason, I just did not like this book, and I did not like the anatomy book that everybody harps on and says that it should be used. I didn't like either one of those. Now, I did get the bucks for 2023, and it seems to be better than the one from 2022, but these books are expensive, and if you're going to practice questions, I really recommend you just get from AAPC, really. If you're doing AHIMA, that workbook is really, really good. But you know, a lot of these questions are not built in the AAPC format with A, B, C, or D. They're just not going to be helpful, because what you're supposed to be doing is practicing your questions and building your speed up. And if the questions aren't written in the same format, then none of this is going to help you out unless you just want to learn anatomy and stuff like that. This is kind of cool for the AHIMA people, because y'all have 10 questions at the end of your exam that are in the match format like this, where you match questions to a list of answers. And I think there's 10 of them that you have to match to. And so that's kind of helpful to practice those type of situations. But as far as AAPC, they're just not going to help you build up your questions with the ABCD format that you need. But I do like some of their questions. They're a little bit better than they were last year, but they're still not in the multiple form like they should be. A lot of fill in the blank that is just busy work. It's just not helpful, because even when you get a real job, I have not seen an ICD-10, a CPT book, or a HIPICS book in a doctor's office in over a decade anyway. No one uses those books. We all use Encoder or some other kind of system that's kind of like a Google search, and you just Google what you need. So doing all that busy work isn't going to be helpful, because nobody uses those books. The other thing that was super helpful was this book from AMA. If you decide to take your CRC exam, this book is, it rocks for CRC. I love it. It's from AMA. The answers are not located inside the book. In the book, it'll show you somewhere around here. I think it's right here. At a glance, review the features of your book. Maybe not. Maybe the introduction. Yeah, right here in the introduction. Right here is where it'll tell you where to find your answer key. And you'll go to an internet website and download the internet key from the AMA website. But once you get in here, there is a lot, probably more than you could do, a lot of clinical examples. So as you're going through the chapter, it'll tell you a guideline, it'll tell you a best practice, and then it'll have you give you some alerts, and then have you do some practice inside that chapter, like this clinical coding example right here. And then it'll tell you what the answer is. But at the end of each chapter, you do have a big chapter test at the very end that is multiple answer format, just like what's going to be on your CPC, CRC exam. And these are super helpful too. But it's also helpful to do the ones that are in the middle of the chapter too. But at the end of each chapter, you have multiple choice questions to do, an audit exercise to do, but also inside the chapter, it's not just a bunch of information that's hard to read before they tell you, okay, you may have read this paragraph, but here's your alert about what that paragraph was about and why it's important. And then you'll read another paragraph, and then it'll tell you another example of what they're talking about. And I like the little bit of information and then round it up for me. That's how I learn better. But it's a lot. This book has so much written in it. It's more than you could ever learn, I bet. But it's great. I love, even if you just got it just for all the chapter review practice questions at the very end, these are great. These are great questions. These will be what you'll see on the CRC exam for sure. So just even the chapter review questions at the end are great. So, but if you could deal with what's in the middle of the chapter, there's a lot of helpful info there too. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Congratulations, Susanna. So proud of you. Please find the ambulance codes and HIPPICs. I could not find them until the end. I finished and I had 30 minutes left. Yeah, they're weird. She is true. I've even gone in there and I know they're in the A's, but somehow or another those ambulance codes are in a separate section of the A's. So you need to know what your BLS ambulance code is and your ALS ambulance code is. You also need to know your differences, which is that the advanced ambulance has ALS, has a paramedic and an EMT on board, and the basic BLS has just 2 EMTs on board. The 2 EMTs cannot stick things into you or introduce things into your body. They can package you up and bring you. They might be able to do a blood pressure. I don't know about a blood sugar, but they can do vital signs and bring you, but they can't start IVs and all that kind of stuff. They can't do a lot, but yep, be sure you know where those are. A is for ambulance. Yep, but they're kind of hidden, so be sure you know about those. Suzanne is rocking. Let me copy some of this stuff and paste what she's helpfully helping here, so I can go over what she's saying later after I do some research on it. She's got some Crushings, Addisons, Graves. She's got the ALS, BLS. Yep. What else? This was my first time, and I had awful allergies, runny nose, swollen eyes, and the proctor allowed me 1 tissue. Oh no. I remember being in elementary school, my sleeves soaking wet from allergies because they wouldn't allow us Kleenexes, or I didn't have any, and all I had was my clothing. So it was bad. Uh-oh. I hope my OBS is being good. Victoria is taking her 3rd attempt on June 10th. She missed it by 1 point. She's going to get it this time. That's devastating. If I had 5 more seconds, I would have gotten the right answer. Oh no. You're really struggling with E&M coding? I got some examples for you tonight. Do I know anything about Libman? AHIMA. LIBMAN. AHIMA. Rebecca? Or are there a bunch of Libman educators? Barry. What you need to know about the beta period. Oh, they were giving away some of it for free back in 2020. What I do know is that you don't need a course. I mean, if you want one, just like with AAPC, my intuition is that these courses are not built to help you pass the certification exam, because they're not from the exam point of view, that they are to help you learn the basics of coding. And people have expectations that if they buy a course, that's going to help them pass the certification exam. And you need to know that that's not the purpose of the course. The purpose of the course is to teach you vocabulary, hopefully teach you the parts of all the books, and teach you the basics of coding. But they're not meant to teach you from the exam point of view of how to pass. And I don't know of anybody or any course that does that. I like to teach for free, and I teach you from the exam point of view what to expect when you get there on the exam and how to pass from the questions point of views, how to use your books and stuff like that. I don't have a course, and I don't charge for the live lessons, but yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend a course, because if it depends on what your goal is. If you want to learn medical coding and you don't care if you're going to get a job off of it, because also don't expect to get a job just because you got a course. There's no difference from a person getting your certification and yours is backed up with a course that you took also. That's not going to matter to an employer. So you need to think about your goals. If you just need to have the certification, then you don't need a course for sure. For sure. And all the jobs are going to have to teach you how to do medical coding based off their contracts, based off their the way that policies and procedures are set up for medical coding and billing, which will be set up differently based off each health plan and each group inside the health plan. Everybody knows that we have to train everybody. It's not that big of a deal, but just know that's not going to help. Let me get back to my Word document for tonight. Find that here for you guys. And get back to chat so I can see it. I don't know why it's not streaming anymore on my live. I still haven't figured out that. Yes, it's online, but the other classes we had the teacher check in weekly to make sure we didn't have any questions, but this one, she hasn't even graded some of the assignments. I had that in college last semester. I'm trying to get my PhD in auditing, and I had one teacher never grade anything until the last week of the semester. Talk about sweating when you're doing essays and turning in all these assignments that they are expecting weekly, and you get no feedback and you have no idea if you've met the expectations or not. And you're just looking at other people's, you have that comment blog that you're supposed to comment on question of the week or something. But as far as the essays, you don't get to see what everybody else is turning in. It is extremely stressful. That is awful. I hate that. There was one question from the study guy on the test. I'm trying to remember which one, but only because I redid all the practice exam. Awesome. Awesome, Ashley. If you think about it, let us know. Hello from Indiana. One of my best friends is from Indiana. I took the AAPC course, and it was only the basics. It did teach me how to code, but not to pass the test. Yep, Paige, you're correct. That's exactly how they intended that course to be, and that's exactly how they keep it. They intend that course not to help you to pass the exam. I took a USCI course only because it was the cheapest. There's a lot of places out there that have some courses. I've been trying to put a list of them on my website under resources. check a lot of prices. There is a last name, and I'm not going to be able to remember him. There's a guy teaching a course for like less than $500. Some people have said some things about him, and I keep forgetting to put him on my list. And that's a full course. There's a tons of YouTube videos. You can probably ask Chat GPT to do stuff. Now, you do have to realize that it's not up to date with the current guidelines, but they have up into 2021, the guidelines so far from what I've checked, but there's a lot of resources out there for free. Do you have any tips and tricks to understand and remember diagnosis guidelines? Yes, I do. Brittany, let me see real quick. Let's see if this will work. That's audio, video. Will that work? Nope. Okay. Let me delete this. Delete. Yes. Oh, let me turn that on. And let me add a video capture. Okay. And did that work? Oh, that did work. That's my elbow. Okay, good. Okay. Hold on, let me get a book. I got me a new bookshelf this week. It's so cool. Put up for all these lovely books that are getting tore up by going all over the place. Lester, look up at me, honey. Oh, he's too sleepy to look up at me, but I had to take a picture for you guys of the new bookshelf. I got a sound wall underneath it, but it's kind of Y-shaped and it holds all the books. I don't know. It's kind of cool, but I think it is. Anyway, Lester wouldn't look up. I got lots of tips for your ICD-10 and your guidelines. Of course, we're going to update our guidelines. I've got a whole set of notes, and if you have a subscription to my YouTube channel, you get access and you get to watch me do the book prep of all the first 10 pages of all the guidelines for you, with you, and you can do that too. You see, wrong book, of course. Let me see which one. See if it's in this one. Did I do? Yeah. Let's see. Yep. We got our notes. So, stuff that I really like to focus on is only the things that I know we're going to have on our CPC exam. You know you're going to get a diabetes. You know you're going to get an HIV. You know you're going to get a burns. You know you're going to get an OB and delivery. Top 10. You know you're going to get a medication adverse reaction, underdosing, overdosing. Those kind of things are always on the exam. The external causes for how an injury happened, the intent, the place, the activity, stuff like that. You know you're going to get the acute and chronic question. Let's see, where's that one? Right here. The acute and chronic question is always on the exam. So I make sure that not only do I mark up my guidelines, but I go to the book and make some additional updates. Let's see. So you know our injuries and accidents, they have their own set of index in the front of the book. It's different from your regular diagnosis code indexes. Index has their own. And then I color code all the diagnoses. So blue is for our intent, and that'll be our second diagnosis. If somebody got hit with a baseball, or on my exam, I had like a chainsaw injury.
Was here yet?
Yes, Travis. And they were put away. Sorry, my children. So I know that's my second diagnosis. I've got my first is going to be cause. The place is going to be yellow. So I color code all these so that when I'm going through here and I'm looking, I know my pink codes are the activity. That's my fourth diagnosis. Just stuff like that is super helpful. Moving the information to the areas that it affects helps a whole lot. This also affects 2 chapters in the ICD-10 book. So this affects chapters 19 and 20. So while I'm in that, I'll also do the same thing here, and back on 20 I'll move the guidelines back here too, so that the color coding is done in all 3 locations eventually. I've got the same color coding in the front of chapter 19 and 20 on the very first page, so that that's helpful. Things that are also helpful is if I took a course. You know, you guys have guidelines for burns and things where you sequence the 3rd degree burns first, 2nd degree, and then 1st degree. What is a full thickness? What's a partial? What's the first superficial? So I write all the guidelines that are dealing with a particular, my top 10 guidelines. Like non-healing burns are always coded at acute burns, even though they're non-healing. You'd think it'd be subsequent, but it's not. Anything that's tied to guidelines or related to burns, I put that guideline at the very first burn diagnosis code on that page. Same thing, you know, you're going to get some cancer patients. You're going to end up with chemotherapy guidelines. Well, at the very first page of the neoplasms, I have all the guidelines for cancer on my very first page. So if I have a question that is just guideline related, I come straight to the very first page. Same thing for pain. You probably end up with something in pain. Probably, here's pregnancy. I have all the guidelines for pregnancy at the very beginning of the OB sections. All the E11s, you know you're going to end up with some diabetes. So if you go to the E9s to the E11s, I've got all my guidelines here. My overdosing, underdosing, it's all here. What would be number 1, what would be number 2, that kind of stuff. Moving it all to the codes is super helpful. And of course, if you need these notes, you can find them on the website. Don't forget, thank you for becoming a member, that your COVID, which is coded a U, is after your Z codes. So there's a code, there's a whole page full of COVID guidelines and stuff, but a lot of people have trouble finding it because it's after the Z's. It's not in alphabetical order. COVID came up at a bad time and they didn't never have a section for it, so then they just threw it in at the back. Anyway, and I think it's still back there for the 2023 one this year. So that's what I do for my diagnosis code book, is move everything. And helpfulness of this is I wrote all of this for external causes first in the guidelines in the front of the book. I wrote it again at the top of the index page in the front of the book. And then I wrote it 2 more times for chapter 19 and chapter 20. I've written this 4 times in one book, repetition of writing the guidelines over and over again like this will help you out, because you'll remember, oh yeah, I wrote that somewhere. Where is it? Just repetition, repetition, repetition. And if you are going to take the AAPC certification exams, for any certification, I recommend you get their AAPC version of ICD-10 and their version of the HitPix, because they have a lot of added information in here that is super helpful. Their HitPix book is over 700 pages long. They have in here coding guidelines and extra appendixes that are super helpful, and where they get some of the answers. They also have 100 publications from CMS about coding policies in here, in their HitPix, and they do ask questions from their books, their own decision trees and stuff like that that they make in these, their coding guidelines. They have their own copyrighted decision trees, these little blocks with the little blocks that tell you when to code what, where. They have a whole bunch of these that they make up themselves, and some of your questions might come from their own decision trees that aren't in anybody else's ICD-10 versions. So just an FYI on that part, but hopefully that helps out a whole bunch. Thank you, Jamie, for joining the YouTube club. I hope that helps. Thank you guys for doing the thumbs ups. I really appreciate it. Anemia guidelines. Yep, you've got it. I've got all those cancer and anemia guidelines, whether it was due to cancer or whether it was due to the treatment of the cancer. Yeah, there is too many of those guidelines. And who could remember all that? And who's going to remember to go to the very front of the book? Why not move that information to the codes that are affected? That helps out a whole bunch. Amy and Eva have been working together. That's awesome. Good to see you. Good luck, MedCoder. Thank you for doing all that. Thank you for showing me that. I mean, I'm doing some course while working at my job. It's a real life coding, and I'm struggling with ICD-10 currently. Usually it's not too bad. We only have 5 questions on the exam that are ICD-10 related. So, but we've got a lot of guidelines that could be ICD-10 related, but don't stress about it too much. I've got some good tips for you guys as we're going through these practice exams questions that will show you how to handle those ICD-10 questions. Most of the time, a lot of their answers for questions are like A would be E11. And then B would be E09. And then C would be E11.03. I'm just making up numbers. And then it would be an R01. And then D would be E11.032. And you can tell right away what your answer is going to be because you don't do symptoms with a diagnosis. So you can get rid of all that. And you don't code to just the 3rd digit at all. You're going to code out to the most specific diagnosis code ever. So most of the time, their answers are pretty reasonable and you can figure it out. Don't ever pick 2 codes when it could be a combination code answer all in one, especially like for the neuro or brain injury ones, like if somebody had a stroke but they're also paralyzed, remember that there's combo codes for those. So you wouldn't code 2 codes, it's 1 code. Other than that, it's usually one answer, and it's usually super specific, so it'll have like 6 digits to it. Find that answer and pick it. Anyway, let's move on with some E&M questions. If you are reading the question, you're doing this wrong, so be sure and put on blinders. You don't want to read the question at all. You want to make sure that you are going straight to the answers first. And you can bring yourself, if you're doing it in person, like an index card or something to put over the question so that you can go straight, because usually the answers are at the bottom and I just move them up to the top. But cover it up. Don't look at it. Don't let yourself be tempted. Some of these first ones are from my duck class on Friday morning. I had to speed through like the last 8 questions, and because I went way over time, I think I did like 2.5 hours, and so it was really confusing at the end. So I brought them back just to do the last few here, that especially the one that I got wrong while I was teaching, because we were just showing off questions and then showing the answer without any explanations. So for this one, they're just asking about ranges. Are we doing admit charge all located in one code? These are admit only codes or observation. What have we got going on? Susanna is gifting some YouTube subscriptions. Thank you so much. If y'all haven't yet already, make sure that you guys are clicking on one of those green boxes and the 3 little dots that will appear when you're hovering over the right-hand side. Make sure you have it to where you can accept gifts. And it looks like Suzanne gave 5 YouTube subscriptions. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Eva, Michelle, Jada, and Aaron, and Vanessa. Yay! Congrats, guys. Thank you so much, Susanna. You are awesome. I really appreciate it. If you decide to come back for another certificate, I'd be glad to help you get CPMA or CRC or any of the specialty codes like cardiovascular, thoracic, or something else. They say it can raise your income by $10K a year if you get 2 certificates, according to AAPC. Now, I don't know if they're trying to sell you something, but it seems pretty legit as far as what I see when people get new jobs in the office and stuff. They do look for sometimes people that have multiple certificates. So congratulations. Thank you so much. You've helped so many people with all your advice and letting us know what you thought about the exam and any tips you had. That's really great of you. I really appreciate it. Jen, could you work with P3 and QX? Yep. Don't let me forget. I forgot somebody's question last week, Wednesday. I wrote it down and everything and forgot to go look. Yep, I can help with those anesthesia modifiers. You got it. Was there anything else that Suzanne said? Do you have any tips and tricks to... Oh, yeah, I did that for Brittany. Good. ALS and BLS. Thank you, Laura Love, for that. She said, okay, location of the upper stomach and lower left abdomen. I just did those notes in my 2023 notes. I made 2 different charts on that kind of information because somebody else said something about that. So I drew in 2 charts about that. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting Suzanne's other information real quick. Adjacent tissue. It was easy to pick just by looking. That's right, Susanna, because we know what the answer is. If it's adjacent tissue transfer, your answer is going to be that 1400 code, and it's going to be that code all by itself. You see anything that mentions that, you're going to pick one answer. Absolutely. That's great to see. Don't let all the words confuse you. The question was, someone calls 911, basic emergency vehicle comes, you code emergency if they come to you in a rush. That's awesome. I'm just pasting that into my notes for later. All right, guys. The out of sequence. I'm sure you did, Eva. You're taking the CPMA on Saturday. Hopefully you got the AAPC's practice exam questions. Those questions will be very much like the exam from what I've been told. All right, we have a pregnant patient. What do you guys think our answer is going to be? Y'all put it in chat while I'm reviewing. Try not to read the question. If you are searching the question, search from the bottom up. Only go as far as you need in the question to answer the question. Think about your differences. That's weird. Oh, change the top of your chat. There's a drop-down menu on the top left from top chat to live chat. That'll make all the chat visible. Jeanette says A. That's so nice of Susanna to give everybody a membership. That's so nice. So nice, so nice. Oh, Blondie, if everything is blurry for you, what you need to do is right down here in the bottom of your screen, you have a YouTube setting right here. You'll click it, a pop-up menu will come up, and you can change from auto to a 720 or a 1080 will be up here. Screen view of the screen. It's a little circle wheel right there where you can change your video settings. That video and a lot more are in my YouTube videos on tips on how to watch the YouTube videos. I've got a screen record of this. So if we read just from the bottom up, make sure our last sentence, what are we coding for? We're coding for the OB. Patient was told to follow up in the afternoon. Was told to follow up the next 2 days, I'm sorry. And she was discharged that afternoon. just seeing the words discharged that afternoon, the only answer here that has our discharge in it, this one is to code 2 codes. This one is not a discharge. This one's not a discharge. So it's either A or B. We got to check to know our differences. If it is A, it's within the same 24 hours. If it's B, it will be greater than 24 hours, right? So if our patient was admitted to the hospital in the morning and then was discharged in that afternoon, you know it's a combo code. And yep, she is correct. Our answer is A. Place of service, the very first page in your CPT book. Be sure you know where these are. Where is our nursing homes? What place of service is a nursing home? I'm having a hard time reading bottom to top. You have to keep practicing. You have to train yourself not to read the questions and to always start at the bottom. It's not easy, that's for sure. Oh, this question is so tiny. How can y'all even see it? Let me see. Such a big difference between 18 and 26 on the screen. It takes practice. If it's blurry, you need to change your settings right down here on the bottom of YouTube. Let me see. Let me show you guys. Yep. Let me go here real quick. All right, so I'm live here. We'll have to deal with the commercials. I hate those things. But as soon as it ends, five, four, three, two, one. There we go. Skip the ad. You see right here that wheel, second one next to the scissors and the X. Click the wheel. You'll get a pop-up thing that says you can change the screen size and so that it's not blurry. And also, you can see on my device, when you click that, your chat comes up. My chat filter is on top messages. You need to change that to all messages. That way you can see everybody's messages. If you're on a remote device, this is the green box we're talking about. And right there, you probably don't have access to the 3 parts. It's gonna, you see where it said allow gifts right there? Allow gifts. That's the thing that happens when you click on the green box. All you need to do is say allow gifts. Click that and it will allow you to be one of the winners. So you need to click that if you're on a device. Let's see. What else can I show? I'm going to expand it to this big expansion. me see. Is there a way on here to show? When I click on my device and click on my picture, up here, I'm getting a wheel. See that other wheel right there? It's that settings wheel. This is where the quality is set at 240. That's a terrible quality thing. You can change it right there to higher picture quality. And now it won't be so blurry now that I've changed it to that. But you kind of have to play around with it to find the correct one that you need. Right there. And then quality. I have it on higher picture quality right now. And then I can get rid of my camera view, and I bet my screen view of the question answers will be a lot better. But I also expanded it and made it fit my whole screen like this too. So you'll need to be able to see all of chat. So there's two wheels. You'll fix the chat wheel. Then you'll click on your screen. Click that box right there to expand your video to big. When you're there, click on your video. Click on that square. All right. There is, I'm sure everybody got C for that one. It's your rationale. That's tiny. Sorry about it being tiny. Let me change this one to be bigger for you. Don't forget, you're going to need to know what is in your Medicare parts. So if you have Medicare Part A, what's paid under Medicare Part A? What's paid in Medicare Part B, C, and D? What do you think? And where is dental care paid for? You're taking your COC tomorrow? Best of luck. Best of luck. Alex, be sure and, think about picking the diagnosis codes with that are coded out to a higher level. E&M, don't do the process of elimination. Think about your differences. Read the last sentence first in E&M for sure. Absolutely. Oh, let me get off YouTube here for just a second. There's another subscription. I don't know what happened to the audio, but there's another free one, and Crane won the subscription for that one. Dental. Yes, dental. So I have a sheet here for you guys. So there's your correct answer, but I also have up this one. I don't know if this is big enough, but this little chart is super cool. Part A, it tells you it covers the hospital insurance, right? Part B is for medical insurance. There it goes. Part D is for prescriptions. And Part C is your Medicare Advantage plan. See if I can't get this one. to be bigger. Guideline question. What is an accurate statement about vaccines, toxoids, and their administration? I have a workshop coming up May 14th. I know it's Mother's Day. It's a Sunday. Sorry. It's 3 hours. We're going to do nothing but guidelines, compliance, and E&M questions. We're going to do 75 questions back to back without me talking about a bunch of family stuff, but we're going to do a bunch of these questions just like this one. And I will show you how I would attack these. What I look for is I still look for similarities, irregularities, stuff like that. So I have two that start out with the word reporting, and then the other ones start out differently with physician or when. So that's one thing. One of them has a modifier in it. I can think about that. I try not to read every single answer on these wordy ones at all. I'm only picking out the first words and keywords that pop out at me. A and D both have the same verbiage in them, while B and C look very different with E&M mentioned or modifiers mentioned. So you don't want to spend a lot of time reading the wordy ones. You want to be able to pick out which two look most similar as far as answers go. And out of those two similars, are we looking for a true statement or a wrong answer? Because a lot of times they're asking you to pick out a wrong answer, and that makes these questions very difficult, but easy enough if you pay attention. So we're looking for a true statement about toxoids and vaccines. And out of this, looking at A and D are most likely the two most similar answers. I'm going to look at those two. One of them says something about is necessary, and the other one says it's mandatory. What does your guideline say about vaccines and toxoids? Do we have a mandated? Guideline here, or do we have a necessary? What's the difference between necessary and mandatory? Kind of interesting question. It just takes you more time to get through these questions because they're so wordy. I got to let out a cat real quick. But if you go to page 722 on page in the 2023 CPT book, at the very top, you'll find the guidelines that they're talking about right there. And D is our correct answer. We do have a mandate right there about our administration. We do need our 90460 if we've done some counseling, for sure. All right. Let's think about these answers. We've got another one that is in the range area. They're not asking us specifically about one specific code, but a range of codes. Are we doing just admit only? Are we doing office visits? Are we doing subsequent hospital visits? Or are we doing another admit and, no, just admit. This is admit. This is consultation. This one's consultation. This one is subsequent, and this is admit. Awesome. Remember, in E&M, don't do the process of elimination. Look for your headers for each answer, and then read the last sentence in the E&M question first to see who you're coding for. Then check your patient status. See where they ended up. The last sentence asks you, which section are we going to code for a cardiologist used to bill for continuous care during patient's hospitalization? What do you guys think the answer is? Yes, Alex, I've got some tips for tomorrow. Let me find something. As soon as I finish this question, I'll read this to you. I wrote this out to somebody that took their exam today. What did I do with it? Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh, I think let me switch accounts real quick. So we have a patient who has atrial fibrillation. They were admitted to the hospital. The PCP requests a cardiologist consult. The cardiologist will take over the care of the patient for the remainder of the hospital stay. Stay cool, you got this, Deep says. Oh my gosh, this tea was supposed to be boba tea, but I read it too quickly and I bought bubble tea. Oh, that is just something totally different. I have these little plastic balls popping in my mouth that are not what I was expecting. So we have a guideline in E&M. That is going to be, let me see, these obscure little guidelines. And I wish they had better organization of some sort for these things. I just think they're very obscure and hidden all over the places, because this isn't under consult. It's actually under initial hospital inpatient observation care. Under this header, 5 or 6 paragraphs in, we've got this one sentence at the very top of the next page that is not highlighted well. It's not marked well with a good header. It's hidden. It really is, and AAPC, of course, knows that. So it says that a consult reports a subsequent hospital inpatient for observation right here for a second service on the same date. So we know this patient was, and it's poorly written, this patient was admitted today, but he was also needed a consult today. Somebody who took over care. Thank you for becoming a member. I hope all those extra exclusive videos like the workshops and the book prep help you out a whole bunch. But what this sentence means is this second visit of another doctor who comes in is going to take over care of this patient is going to end up billing subsequent hospital visits for this patient, right? I need to go through here and write something up for you guys that I've got it in my head. I just need to get it written out, that I could go through all these guidelines, explain them in my own terms, what they mean, show you some examples and some practice example questions, and then move on to the next guideline, and then tell you what it says, then explain it in my own terms, then give you some examples of what it would look like. That's how you need this written, and I think I need to do that. I just need to do that. Anyway, so we're going to be on page 16 of the CPT book. You are going to be doing the subsequent hospital care for this question. Here's your fancy rationale if you need it to pause the screen or do a screenshot for later on how they explain the question later on. As for tomorrow, let me bring this up. Who was I talking to? I wrote something out really good and then I didn't copy it, and I want to copy it. And who was that? Who took their exam today? Ooh, we got some more members coming up. Wow. Miss Unique, I was talking to her too. Somebody's asking me help to code for her psych practice that she owns. I'm like, I don't envy you. Of course, I won't be able to find it right now. Okay, here we go. For tomorrow's exam, today, of course. Let me switch this down. Our next question. For tomorrow's exam, I've got a COC question coming up too. Be sure you know trick, hair, fungal, infection, tear duct, any kind of information on that. Yep, phalanx. Ligaments, 2 bones. HIPAA, probably not for you, but you guys really need to know, what does H stand for? What does P stand for? What does the A stand for? Same thing for HIPPICS. Be sure you know what each letter stands for. JVD, ARDS, upper extremities list. JVD, not BD. Because they'll ask you, like, which one of these is an upper extremity? Casual relationships, scheme, gland, PRURITUS, Warthons, SRS, and yep. Here you go. Good stuff for tomorrow, for sure. Be sure you know all that. If you don't, you know where Google is. Let me erase. I did this at 22, but it just does not seem like it's big enough. All right, let's go look at our radiology codes for these. 787, 787. I like the 08 and the 07 since they're the closest. What's our differences? Both of them are children codes. Look at mama, make sure you're under the right heading. Are we doing a kidney imaging morphing? If we're not doing that morphology, then you know we're in the wrong spot and you would go find something else. But let's check out our question real quick, see if we're in the right spot. What did we do today? Are we in the right spot? Do you see anything? You see right here it says non-imaging. And if we were over here in our 707, this one's imaging. So's our 08. So is our 07, right? The only one that is non-imaging is our 25. It's all the difference in the world there was. Here's another one. I'll let you guys do this one without me telling you what the answer is. We'll see if everybody can get this one right. Look up your differences in your codes. Be sure and pay attention to mothers or headers. Then check your question to see if you're under the right mama or headers. If you are, great. Then what's your differences between your two codes or three codes, whatever you've picked? And then just search the question for that one difference. What are you guys getting on the second one? JVD was on your exam. Awesome. Hey, Vanessa, what am I doing? Hey, Jen, what are the use or importance of category? Oh, yeah, those modifiers. I forgot about that. As soon as they finish this question, I'm going to those modifiers. You asked me about that an hour ago. Somebody did. Do I have the right question? Are you the same one that asked me about P3 and QX? Thanks, Go-Kart. I just need time to be able to write that mess out. I know this is unrelated, but what qualifies for a level 2 coma? Probably, yep. Your coma scale, is that in our ICD-10 guidelines? Our coma scale? There is a ton of, if you search for images on coma scales, you can look up that coma scale and it'll tell you what a level 1, level 2. So level 2 is pressure, sounds, and extensions. Level 1 is none, none, and none. Level 3 is to sound, words, and abnormal flexions. Level 4 has normal flexations. So this is kind of cool, but there's a ton of these little charts out there available in all kinds of formats. Not hard. On the CT scan, CT bone mineral, what did you guys get? C? 78? Yes, indeed. Good job. Last one. Gosh, I need to make these big so you guys can see them. I think I got too much side walls over here or something. Let's see if that helps some. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if I can make the image bigger for you guys. All right. What do we think the answer is for this one? Everybody saying B. 46. We do have it on B. Very good. Good job. Let me bring up this one. We were doing nerves earlier last week. Have that nerve question about the levels of nerves. These are all in the 4/7s. So I like the 18 and 19 because they're super close together. 4/7, 18 and 19. "16 is mama." Make sure you're doing a neuroplasty or transpositioning a cranial nerve. Ulna or ulna. One's in the wrist, one's in the elbow. What are we doing? Where is the medial epicondyle area? That's going to be a different term for what is listed in your CPT descriptor. So knowing if that's in the wrist or if that's in the elbow is where this will help. On my 19, I have lower wrist, and I also have the notes that we're moving the nerve. That's what the transposition means, move a nerve. In 18, what do you think I have there? Yep, I put the medial, not medieval, but yeah, it feels like it when you hit it. Epicondyle, I put these words underneath that CPT code so that I know where the answer would be, that this is in the elbow. Super helpful to move those notes to the particular code. This one is a COC question. Which of the following best describes the ACE? Where is that? Good job, guys. That is a COC question. That's awesome. Good job. I'm glad all of you know that. All right, she asked about the anesthesia codes. So we have in the front of our anesthesia book some anesthesia modifiers, and we have P1 through P6. And these are just modifiers that describe how our patient's health was before whatever happened to them that led them to anesthesia surgery. So if my Travie needed to go to anesthesia to get a ring cut off, which he put one on, and I had to go to the fire department. I went there first because they got those cutters, you know, and they could cut that off. One morning before school, he went to sleep with a ring on his finger, and in the middle of the night, his finger swole, and we could not get it off. So on the way to school that morning, we drove into the fire department and went in there. And then he sat there forever trying to cut that ring off, and it wouldn't cut. So his status would have been P1. If they had done it to me because of my age, and maybe with my weight at what it was at the beginning of last year, when I was scaring the heck out of 200 pounds, now I'm down in the 130s, but last year I was morbid obese at 200 pounds because I'm only 5'2". So my patient status code would have been P2. So they almost took Travis to the emergency. Well, we did go to the emergency room, and then the emergency room doctor couldn't get it off either. He was ready to send him to surgery. His modifier for surgery would have been P1. We ended up doing a nerve block on his hand and just ripping the thing off because it's one of those junk rings, like for one of those boy bands. I don't know, BT1, or I don't know what the name of them they are, but I know it starts with a B. He was wearing one of their fan rings, and it's made out of tin, copper, I don't know, a bunch of junk metals, but it can't be cut through with ring saws. It's stronger than gold, so you gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. A $5 ring is like worse than something that's made out of gold, so because gold is a soft metal, so be careful when buying your kids junk rings from Walmart. Yep. It's not based off age and weight. I'm just saying at my age, at 200 pounds, at 52 years old, and being morbidity obese, my health risk is mildly hampered. What if I was a 10-year-old with insulin-dependent diabetes, that happens in adolescence? I would have more of a severe systemic disease. You're going to have to keep that patient insulin good while they're under anesthesia for however long you got to keep them under. So there's an added risk. They might end up being a P3, but they're 10 years old. So it depends on their disease process, if any, more than an age, I would say. And I have some examples in my notes that I write out for you guys. So an example of a P2 would be controlled diabetes, or or controlled hypertension. Might have hypertension, but they're taking their meds, and that medicine keeps their blood pressure under control. If they're a P3, then they're morbidly obese, may also have uncontrolled hypertension or diabetes. Those kinds of things are part of P3. P4 would be your like renal disease. If you have a patient who's diabetic, hypertensive, and is CKD, their kidneys are failing, I would put them at a P4. If you have a car accident patient who's otherwise healthy, but they've been in a bad car wreck and they're not expected to live, even if they don't have any systemic diseases, they're a very young person, and we have unknown conditions or not, we just know they're not expected to live based off of their Cushing syndrome or whatever else has happened to them. We have brain matter coming out, or the heart's stopped at this point. We're trying to get them back going, but we need anesthesia to put them under to do crash their chest open to do heart massage, or to fix an artery line into the heart that is ruptured. But we're going to crack open their chest, so we don't want them to feel or remember any of that, just in case. We might put them as a P5. If they are declared dead and we are just doing an organ harvest, we still put them under anesthesia, and that's our P6. Our other modifiers, and all other modifiers, are all listed in your HIPPICS book. Your anesthesia modifiers, if you have the AAPC version of the HIPPICS book, they have these lovely, big, nice modifier list on the front covers and stuff, because there's a lot of modifiers, a whole bunch of modifiers. It covers up all of the front covers, which are front and back, but they're always, of course, in the back of your book, whatever HIPPICS book you've got. all your modifiers are going to be in their own section for no matter whether they're HIPICs, anesthesia, CPT codes, whatever, Appendix B or some appendix in whatever HIPICs book you've got. We'll list every modifier from A1 all the way to one of our last ones, which is XU. You've got all of this. This has got a whole list of your extended, what is the modifier, what all does it do, what can you use it with, like G4 is used for Medicare, for hemodialysis, for end-stage renal disease. There's a whole huge list of tons of modifiers back here. You have a list of modifiers that are mixed in here that are all anesthesia ones. They're not organized by a particular letter of any sort, but there are quite a few of them. The good thing about AAPC's HIPICS books is they take out all the anesthesia modifiers and they put them in this one chart for you, starting with 23 and 47, of course, your P1 through P6. Then they also bring out your AD, your G8, G9, GC, QK, QS, QX, QY, and QZ. And they have a short description here, but the full description is inside your HIPICs. But I take all of these modifiers and I move them to my notes in my CPT book so that I can use them while I'm coding these codes. Now, her specific question was about QX, I think, QX. CRNA services with medical direction by a doctor. That means they're doing the anesthesia, the nurse practitioner is. She's just being directed by a physician. She's not all by herself. And that is being directed by probably like a regular MD. So let's say we're in the ER and ER doctor needs the registered nurse anesthesiologist to give her patient an injection of Ativan or something just to calm them down. But we still need the anesthesiologist to stand by. What if they have an allergic reaction? What if they stop breathing? Whatever. But they're not like completely under like breathing anesthesia. That's probably where they're going to use the QX. The QY means that they're under the direction of a real anesthesiologist. This is going to be more like an anesthesiologist is at the nurse's station of a surgery wing, and there might be 3 ORs around the surgery nurse's station that he's sitting at. But we've got surgeries going on, and the anesthesiologist is checking in on the nurse that's in there doing the anesthesia on this patient. But not technically in the room. Could be observing from the observation, wherever, that kind of stuff. There's also QK, where if an anesthesiologist is telling 3 of those rooms that are all filled with nurses doing the anesthesiology, and he's or she is doing the direction for all 3 rooms, that's what you use the QK for. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I should be putting down the pen so I'm not popping the cap. Good night, Laura Love. See you later. I'm trying to get my behind self out of this class, so I'm doing the basics to get done so I can concentrate on this class. That's awesome, Amy. Just be sure and save all of your practice exam questions from each chapter review, each chapter exam, and anywhere in there that's got A, B, C, D questions, and it also has the rationale that goes with them. Save all of them for your whole entire course. That will help you out more than anything. Whoops, where's my... There it is. Here we go. That will help you out more than anything because you really need those practice questions to put the examples in your chart or in your books. The study guides, it's up to you. You know, this is your, you know, I can't focus. You see me, I'm ADHD all over the place, all over the time. And I just know that you guys are going to need from your study guide, you know, things that are important, like the parts of Medicare. What's in each one? Take that paragraph, go over here and just move it to your books so that you've got it to reference later. Anything that you don't have, you can move it to any available white space you've got in the book. Unless you have a certain CPT book that has tabs, pages in the book. I don't know who made this thing up, but there's one CPT version, and I think it's Optum's, that has tab pages in it, where the tabs page is blank. Y'all need to rip those out. You're not allowed to use those as white available space. Other than that, you can use all of this white available space to write any of the information here. I might do business of medicine one night. I know I need to know the Medicare stuff. Jen's never said anything to us about RVS, so I doubt I need that for my exam. She's never said anything about medical necessity, right? Have I said anything about ABNs, advanced beneficiary notices? Yes, I have. I mention them all the time. So whatever info here that I don't know, I'm going to move to my CPT book. Has she said anything about high tech or impact of HIPAA? HIPAA, yes, not really on high tech. Those kind of things. Fraud and abuse, have I said anything about that? Yes, I have. Go write those examples down. Have I said anything really about OIG work? Not a lot. Every once in a while. If there's anything here that I think I might need, I'm going to move. But listening to my lives is important because it's going to help you remember or know what out of this book you can leave alone and what you really need to capture. So it's kind of helpful to do both. But also, you're going to get bored. You're going to get tired of doing just the business of medicine. And you're going to get tired of doing individual CPT code prep. So those are good days where you can go in and you can go to the pictures and Google the pictures and do the functions of each little item and make sure you get the functions down where you can do the coloring and that kind of stuff. So I hop around, but you do what you feel like doing. Don't stress. Here's another anatomy one. Ooh, it's tiny. Chapter 17 with the anesthesia with 6 different people. I had a question on Chapter 17 with the anesthesia with 6 different people. What's your question, Amy? I try to do every test that allows multiple attempts. Yep. I understand, Amy. Their videos are pretty rough to watch. Just save all the practice questions with the rationale, for sure. Good. And then you go make the notes in the books. So if the answer was like on that previous question we did today, where we saw that the elbow was called something different, go make those notes. Go check every single answer and see why the answer was wrong, and then go see why the answer is correct. This Appendix L in the back, how would you find the answer to this question? So we're going to have to run to our Appendix L back here, unless you're a super brain and you know where all the particular body parts are at in the vascular system. And they're asking us about the third branch of the celiac trunk. So where is celiac here? Oh, I'm showing you and y'all can't see the book. Sorry. So Appendix L, it's in the back of the book. If you're in 2023, I'm on page 965. So we're just going to do word searches. We're going to search first order and look for anything in the first order that's going to say celiac. And when you find it, great. That's celiac right here on our second page. Then you're going to go to the third order. Third order is right here. Going to go down. What is the third order of celiac? Celiac goes to common hepatic, which goes to our gastro. Right there. And so you know your answer is going to be A for this one. It's just a word search. That's all it is. You just figure out, and even if you don't know if you're an artery or vein, just go to your first order, look for the celiac. If it happened to not been there, you could have gone over here to the vascular level and look for the celiac, but it is there, of course. Something that probably wouldn't be there. Spleen. Yeah, if they were talking about a splenic, that's way down here on the bottom. Spleen, the third order of the spleen, is either something called colic or rectal. You know, those colic tummies. So, not too hard. They're all going to be listed. First, second, or beyond. Not too bad. Here we go. 10 more minutes. Yep. Thank you, Jamie. Jeanette, I'm sorry, what book are you asking about? This one, I'm in the CPT book, and I'm in the Appendix L in the back of the book. Ugh. I can't believe this looks so tiny for you guys. I have it on font 18. Usually that works really well, but it is definitely not tonight. Maybe, yeah, there we go. That's going to look a lot better. Good gracious. I forget how to do things sometimes. Ugh. That looks better. That only took me 2 hours to figure out. Which is an example of fraud? Look for your similarities We're looking for a correct answer. I don't see a lot of similarities in this at all. We got ABN, closures, radiology, and medical documentation. Word matching exactly from the questions to the code descriptors. Helps so much. Yep, it does. A few minutes ago, I was talking about the guidelines. ICD-10 book? Oh, yeah, moving them to the... Yep. I was showing off earlier. Way earlier, though, about moving ICD-10 guidelines to the indexes and then also moving them to the chapters, using up all that white available space for any guidelines. I do that for all the majors, poisonings, pains, you name it. I've got them all done. Pregnancies, moving all the guidelines to the major codes. I know there's some G pain codes somewhere, I think. I did the guidelines too. All the diabetes, tons of diabetes, cancers, metastasized, all the cancer guidelines. Just move them to the codes. Super helpful. Be sure you have some of these guidelines. And I was talking about the rules for laws and stuff like that, like January 1st, 2007 gave us the laws of critical care. How many levels of critical care are there? There's 2. This is a COC question. What does LCD stand for? It's for reasonable and necessity. I have the CPMA guidelines here, and I'm just writing them in the very, very front of the CPT book before my E&M section. If you bought my E&M section notes, you got copies of this kind of stuff for the 2023 to show you and give you some ideas of that kind of stuff. But that's also what I was talking about. For this fraud question, you guys, yes, C is our answer for this one. If you're coding an intermediate when it was a simple closure, then that's fraud. Be sure, though, during the exam, they do have a question on there where a simple closure was done, but they irrigated it. Be sure you know that that automatically turns it into an intermediate CPT code, and you need to be sure and bill intermediate for that one if they irrigated it. Irrigation turns your simple closure into an intermediate. But for this particular example, that is fraud. More of those spines. Looks like. Where's my question? It got booted. Did it get booted? Where did it go? I have no idea. Here we go. There's our question. So if you're reading the question, you're doing it wrong. Be sure and put on blinders. Don't look at that. Come straight to the answers first. Go to 93 and go to 35. Go to both those codes first. See what your differences are first. Take those differences and search your question from the bottom up. If you don't practice doing it this way, you're not going to be able to do it on your exam, and you're going to spend way too much time on your exam. You should be able to do 100 questions in 3 hours, actually, if you're doing it with the process of elimination, looking for coding irregularities. If you're doing your headers before descriptors or parents before child codes. Don't these codes automatically already include your radiology? If they do, you know you're going to get rid of these already if they're coding irregularities. Then that helps you get down to just a 50 shot. Are we in the 644s header, or are we in the 646s? It's all you got to know. What do you guys think? Yep, we are destroying, but paravertebral is your key word here. Yep. What about this one? Ooh, can we get this all into one here? No, let me see. We're trying. We've got a difference between our 20, 40, and 30. This one also is our C. This one. Are we this one or this one are the two closest? 495. Thank you. I hope that repeat of all those workshops where you get like 75 questions, you can just pause the screen, try to do the question by yourself. Try to get them done within 2 minutes each. Super helpful. 7. This one may not be. 6.5 may not be a good question for us because they redid these questions. Those have been deleted. So that one's not going to work. I got to update this one for this year. Don't forget you've got all of these codes that are brand new for the 2022 year. All of these for the hernias. The Knowledge Center at AAPC has a full list of them and an explanation that you don't even need to be a member for that you can see that is super helpful. So I gotta get that one updated. E&M. No, we can do E&M. Are we a level 2, level 3, level 4, or level 5 on this one? We have an office visit in February. Patient here for a follow-up. We have no MDM and no time. So we're going to have to use our handy-dandy little chart that is terrifying to look at on page 8 and 9 of the 2023 CPT book. And we're going to check for our 3 elements, which is our chief complaint, the amount of data that was reviewed, and the risk of the patient and the MD. How much risk does the patient have? How much data was reviewed? And what was today's chief complaint? Those 3 things will make up what we're going to bill if it's a level 2, 3, 4, or 5. What do you guys think? He doesn't listen. Oh no. Oh no. It's very, very hard to get doctors to change their ways. What you have to do is take away their super bills with those codes on them, create new ones, or delete those codes out of their get away from them. If they're handwriting them on, you're going to have to draw one line through it, say deleted code, redo, MD. Send it back to him. And attach to the back of it a list of the new codes. I know, right? Look at that blood pressure. The heck? That's insane. Let's see, where am I at? Where am I at? Let's see, where was I at when I was showing you guys the page? Right there. Let's see. Let's see. Wrong one. Not there. That was a different question. I was just seeing if they had wrote it that way. From wherever I grabbed this question from. It's not going to be on here. See, these questions, the ones that I got for tonight, are still their questions for current questions that you can purchase from them, and they still haven't updated them to the 2023 code. So it's very frustrating when you go to your purchased crap and they still haven't updated what they're doing. It's like, great. Anyway, I'm not finding it right now, but it's just seeing. Document. I bet that's supposed to be a 120, but they have a typo on their question. So I would assume her blood pressure is normal since everything else is correct. There's no way you could have a diastolic of 78 with a systolic of 20. That'd be crazy. You purchased them in April 8th to test, and there's so many deleted codes. I know. even on the E&M, for the certificates, CEMC, all their practice questions for that, it's like a nightmare. They updated some of it, but they didn't think when they were updating it, and they're wrong. They're just wrong. Oh my God, they're wrong. So frustrating. But we're all human. We all make mistakes. I know I do. But, you try to, it's May, these codes changed in January. And they have been saying since January 1st that they updated all their practice questions that you purchased. Well, no, you didn't. They're still incorrect. Okay. We got some B's and A's. B's and A's. We have one chronic condition with the, you could also call that a medication. It's very vague. A prescription drug management visit, but they didn't list any drugs. Normal vitals. A 1-month follow-up with no new complaints. According to them, they want a 12. They want an A. So the only thing that I can do a lot of times on these, where this one with lupus is one chronic condition, it's not a self-limiting minor problem, but they're coding it as that way. One stable chronic condition is supposed to go under low, which would be a 13. But according to AAPC, they wanted a self-limiting minor problem on this one, wherever I got it from, because all I did was copy and paste these. But all you can do is just write in underneath in this chart for lupus, no complaints. They had another one which was a simple mastectomy that I thought was very strange, because they're going to remove the breast. I think that is more of a decision for surgery. It might be a minor surgery, but I wouldn't think that it would go up here under the low. I would think it would go right here with the decision regarding a minor surgery. But they wanted it in low, so I just had to write the example of a simple mastectomy right here. Just some answers are just going to be incorrect in guideline eyes, but you got to figure out what answers they want during their exam. We have, are these all consults? I think this is all consults. So we just need to pick out our level of consult. Are we level 2, 3, 4, or 5 on this one? We have no MDM and no time listed, so we need to go off of chief complaints, the amount of issues looked at, and the risk of the doctor and the patient off of what they did. So if we have heart murmur, we have an EKG and an echo ordered. There's 2 things. And follow up afterwards. 1 chronic with 2 datas ordered. What would we code for that one? Just E&M. It's a pain sometimes. I wish I knew why. had it written down and had practiced the question before and knew what they wanted, but my suspicion is that they have that one wrong. But the simple mastectomy drives me nuts too. But this one, we've got 2 tests ordered. So it's not too bad if we have, for following right here under data, it says any combination of 2 of the following. Order the results of each unique test. An echo is a unique test, which is different than an EKG. They're 2 different things. So would blood work be a unique test? So those are 2 unique. They have 2 listed under low, and also under low is 1 stable chronic illness. So I don't know whether she's unstable or not, but we still only have 1 uncomplicated illness listed here too. So I would pick low if I was doing this. You think 44? They want 43. Two more questions and we'll go. Remember that as of January 1st, we no longer need to worry about the 1995, the 96, or the 2021 guidelines. The guidelines only now for 2023 are the ones that we're going to go for. Remember that your office visits, you can use time or you can use MDM. MDM is 3 parts now. Part 1 is the number of and how many difficult problems we're going to handle today, the amount of data reviewed, then the risk of the outcome of the visit based off orders and treatments. Good night, Dee Dee. One more anatomy question, and then I got one more E&M right after this one. This one's a COC practice question for anatomy. Good job, Castro. What do you think on this anatomy question? Pocket prep is finally right, though. Really, the last time I looked at them, and it was in April, I was just traumatized by the E&M questions. It was awful. I turned it off. Oh. And don't get me started on that stupid book everybody's buying off of Amazon that's got 800 practice questions on it. Every single E&M question. I went through and audited that book. It was just traumatizing how bad it was. Oh yeah, this thing. Ugh. Yep, we're scapula. Yep, perfect. Last E&M question. Repeat questions. Oh, it's so bad. What do you guys think for this one? Okay. Well, we can look at that real quick. Anybody know what the answer is for this one? Last sentence. What does your last sentence say? Medicare. Medicare does not recognize CPT codes, right? So we know our answer. Technically, it's going to be C. Yeah. This thing, oh my God. Look, all that red is just all wrong answers. It's just a nightmare. Every single exam that is E&M in here, there's 8 exams. All the E&Ms are all wrong. She's using the old guidelines for low, for all the, oh God, it's terrible. It's terrible. The history being comprehensive, the, all the prolonged services codes that they didn't delete. They have problem focused stuff. It's just all bad. All bad. Don't use that. Not for E&M. And all the other questions are all just from the free magazines. They're free questions anyway, and they're all Quizlets. And wrong answers, wrong rationales. It's bad. Let me look at Pocket Prep. You guys are saying they're done, they're fixed? Oh my gosh. See, I can't remember which thing I was looking at on Pocket Prep. Which one I'm logged on in. Try to log on real quick and see. Come on, internet. Which one? Pocket Prep. Pocket Prep. Pocket Prep. No, let me switch. Pocket Prep. There we go. Let's go to build a quiz. Oh, huh? Yeah, resume. All right. I was looking at these and these were all wrong, so I was like, which? Okay, good, good. Guidelines. 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 Just playing around with these to see if these had changed any at all. Surgery period. PHI. Okay, we'll go back. Let's build just for, yeah, no, start new quiz. Go here. Go to evaluation management. They only have 30 questions, which is such as a pain. Like HitPix, if you pick HitPix, we only have 4 questions on HitPix in our exam, or 3, but yet they have 45 questions on HitPix in this silly thing. We need more evaluation management, not this stuff. All right, start quiz. Yeah, we know what a consultation is. That one's not going to be bad. MDM moderate for a consultation. 44. Yep, we're good. Good there, good there. That one's new. This one. Nursing. Follow-up, it's a 7 or a 9. Our MDM is detailed, so is that a 7? 9? Are we detailed with 9? Detailed exam. Oh, this is the wrong. We no longer have exams or history. We're not supposed to have that mentioned in our question, if that makes any sense. The exams and histories no longer matter. So that exam question is written incorrectly because we don't have that detail anymore. 99309 309. subsequent 30 minutes. We're good other than that, but it's supposed to be a moderate MDM. 30-minute is good, but this detailed exam is bad. That should not be there, and they should have some other qualifying thing there. See how they have all this problem-focused history exam, straightforward MDM? That's incorrect guidelines. This explanation is inappropriate. We're not supposed to have any of that anymore. This right up here, too, is incorrect guidelines. Incorrect, incorrect, incorrect. And y'all can't be learning that because it's useless for you guys. All right, blood pressure, medical taken, disability insurance. Okay, that one's good. So, yep, that one's good. 15-minute telehealth. Are the telehealths going to be okay? I don't think there's just going to be a difference in patient can't leave the house, come to visit, performed 15-minute established patient on their diabetes. So we're just going to go by time. Hopefully their time is updated. 99441. Who's got? That's because, yeah, Medicare, you have to use your HIPICS codes. Good night, Jeanette. I swear that one was on my test. Which one were you talking about, Victoria? I don't find that question on my pocket prep. That's crazy. Maybe we have different questions. Isn't that weird? I don't know. 994. I buy my pocket prep for an entire year is what I did. And that way I don't have to get billed monthly for something. But I bought it for a whole year. 441. Online, 15 minutes. Is that 22? 99422. If we had, yeah, if we're dealing with these. Which ones are these? These are online digital evaluation management for established patient. What are we doing? A telehealth evaluation for an established patient for their diabetes. We're supposed to be 422. Uh-uh. 447. Thanks, Castro. 442. Telephone or internet. See, the new guidelines for these are one or the other. This no longer happens. Our 2441 through 443 are just for telephone. Our internet office visits are 421 through 423. They're separated now. So, drives me nuts. Okay, what about this one? Endocrinologist, 30 minutes. Appropriate and straightforward MDM. We don't have straightforward anymore. Straightforward is gone. And not in the hospital. Consultations, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 30 minutes is at a 4.3 for the time, but then the MDM is low. 30-minute visit. Oh, good God. Just terrible. Medical team conference. We're cool with that one. It's just whether the patient is there or not. We know what the exempt means. Appropriate medical history and a low MDM. Where are they at? Who are we coding for? We are coding in the ER. Hit in the head. So we kept them in observation. That's what I would code them for, because we kept them there, but we released them with caution precautions. So low complexity is our ER is 83 now. Good. Low is 83. Our nursing visit is our 91. Incoming ambulance. ALS, we only have one code for ALS, so that ought to be too easy. This one. You see how all of these have deleted codes? Our 18 and 17 are deleted now. We don't have those anymore. So why have those here? They're deleted. And then they're giving you rationale on these codes that we no longer have. So, wrong. That one's okay, I guess. This one's living will. Urology. She hasn't been there for 3 years. See how it's got comprehensive history and exam? We're not supposed to have that in the questions anymore. If we go off of moderate MDM, she's supposed to be at 04. That's fine. But technically, the way the question's written is incorrect for this year. Oh, 30 minutes last. It's going to be time. Not a problem there. 85, 45 minutes. Appropriate history and exam, that's fine. MDM is moderate complexity. Where is she at? She's at home? Visiting nurse. Okay, yeah, visiting nurse. That's okay. And then PCP Healthy patient. Yep, we know where that one is. UTI. Nurse tests the urine. That's just a nurse visit. We know that one's okay. That's the 11. 30 minutes. C-section. What? Standby services is our 60. He did not stay in extra, so we know it's just the one. The one, or do two? Why would we do two? He does stay. I read it that as does not stay the extra 30 minutes. I said it. I thought for some reason my brain said not. Okay. So that's cool. That's good. Patient, scratchy throat, prescription of antibiotics. Right here, detailed history and exam should not be there. That question's written wrong. And 30 minutes. And then them telling us about the MDM and history is all wrong. Wrong. That's okay. Right here, more. Minutes. That's abdominal pain, palpitations. 15 minutes. Where's our times? 15 minutes. That's a 2:12. That's good. That one's okay. ER. Around an hour and a half. Really? This is just an age question. You put the correct age in, it'll give you the correct answer. Appendicitis. Discharged, admit, and discharged all in the same. All in the same. We're doing discharge only. Oh yeah, she had appendicitis yesterday. Good. 15 minutes. This one right here, expanded, problem-focused history and exam. Incorrect question. Nursing facility, we don't code for everybody's. Jeez, Pete. 15 minutes. Wrong. We don't code for those anymore. $15.08. Still, we don't code for the expanded problem focus. That's a bad guideline. We don't use that one anymore. ER, moderate. Where's our moderate? Is that 84 now? 84 is moderate. Yep, good. We don't code for any of these guidelines they have in these notes. All that's bad. That's bad. They need to be coding to the components of risk and risk adjustment. All that's bad. And the amount of data that was reviewed, all of that's bad. This one's okay, because we're just doing standby, right? Yep. Yep. Doc, it was just birthing center. Just birthing center. Nobody was standing by. But over half out of 30, so you're only getting 15 maybe E&M questions that are okay, but most of these, the ones that are okay, aren't the ones you're going to have any trouble with coding. Advanced life support, you know we only have one of those. the medical team, you know, we've only got 2 of those. This right here, all nursing facilities. It's just, there's so many that aren't going to be helpful. And then the ones that could be more helpful, their explanations are teaching the old guidelines that we don't do anymore. We need the risk guidelines in here and the amount of data reviewed and the amount of chief complaints. So all of these I don't like none of them, not a bit, but that's just me. That's crazy, Victoria. Maybe I should email them and say, what's the deal? Why have I got all these old guideline questions? All right, guys. I will run. I will get off of here. I will see you guys on Wednesday. I will not be here on Friday night. We're getting on a plane and going to Provo, Utah to check out the city's grocery stores and the neighborhoods that people live in there. We're just going to research it for the weekend, see what kind of town it is, and I'll take you guys along. Y'all can watch some of the lives for that on TikTok if you want to see those. But it's just me and John riding around in a car in town looking at grocery stores and people's houses. So that's what we'll be doing. I fly back on Monday. It's going to be a later flight than I was even last Monday. So between kids and everything else, I doubt I'll be here on Monday too, but I'll be back on Wednesday. But I have one on Wednesday for you guys. I do have the Friday duck class before my flight. If anybody shows up, I think there's only 3 people in there right now, but I will still do the duck class in the morning. I'll just be doing, listening to my child say I have too much stuff in my suitcase. So, but I'll still be doing the duck class if anybody wants to attend that one. Yep. Y'all can watch me in the airports and stuff like that on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'll be on TikTok live. But y'all can ask questions. I answered a lot of coding questions on the fly without the books and was able to articulate some answers. So just ask away on TikTok this weekend, okay? I wish y'all the best, and I will see you guys